A playoff spot is on the line for the Dolphins here this afternoon as they take on the Saints. The Dolphins need to win both games of today's doubleheader in order to qualify for the East Coast Conference playoffs. No margin for error. As for the Saints, they need just one victory to lock up a spot in the postseason. It should be a fun day of softball here at the College of Staten Island, a day that we've been looking forward to since early this week. We had to wait one extra day with inclement weather in the area yesterday, but the Dolphins and Saints finally get the chance to take the field here for this doubleheader today.
And it's kind of deja vu, Joe. We saw this exactly same scenario last season for this Dolphins team, and we saw that first game. They were able to get the victory, force the win-and-in scenario in game number 2. Unfortunately, the Dolphins were not able to get the job done in game number 2. So for the Dolphins here today, first things first, get this game 1 victory over with and get it done, and then force that scenario in game 2 where a win gets you in and you can knock out this Deauville team from the playoffs, and for yourself, make your first Division II appearance in the postseason for the first time ever. And the Dolphins, of course, Joe, will go to their ace, Kennedy Ruth, here today to try to make sure that they can at least get to that game 2 spot and force that win-and-in scenario.
Well, Kennedy Ruth was fantastic last time she faced this Deauville team. The Dolphins and Saints last met on April 16th in Buffalo. Game 1 saw just one run scored between the two teams, Deauville taking the win 1-0. But in that game, Kennedy Ruth was fantastic, allowed just one run on 3 hits and walked 4. However, Sarah Parzic, just a bit better, did not allow a run on 5 base hits. She struck out 9 and earned the victory, at the time her 10th of the season in a complete game effort.
And, Joe, we talked about this earlier in the week against, Mercy, where the Dolphins were facing one of the better pitchers in Brandon Mark going into that week. Best ERA in the conference. The Dolphins jumped out to that early 4-0 lead. They're going to need kind of a similar type of approach here today. They're going to have to attack early against Parzic, make sure that they can get some runs, and then give Kennedy Ruth that cushion to give her a chance to win this game. Now, unfortunately for CSI, they were not able to hold on to that lead against Mercy this past week. So the Dolphins need a different strategy in the later innings. Some errors definitely hurt them as that game went on. They have to avoid those errors here today, make sure that they can give Kennedy Ruth an early lead. Hopefully they can hold on to that lead, and then, as we mentioned, force that second game scenario where both teams get winning in and move on to the postseason.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, you know that you can score against this Deauville Saints team. If you take a look at Game 2 from earlier this year, it was a big 13-11 Dolphins win, which saw the Dolphins come back in the final inning. They trailed going into the 7th. They scored 4 times in the 7th to go in front 13-10. The Saints put together what was nearly a go-ahead rally in the bottom half of the 7th. They did fall 2 runs short. However, that game ended with a bases-loaded strikeout. So high drama in Buffalo when the Dolphins and Saints met for their second game. The first game during that doubleheader, as we mentioned before, also a 1-run game. So these two teams have played each other pretty close. History has favored Deauville. They lead the all-time series 11-7. They also have the benefit today of needing just one victory to clinch a playoff spot. The Saints, obviously, with the inside track to the postseason. The Dolphins with an opportunity here on the final day of the regular season. So what we are going to do here is step aside and take a break. We are just a few minutes away from first pitch between the College of Staten Island and Deauville University. You're watching NCAA Division II softball here on CSI Sportsnet, a proud part of the ECC network.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials. Check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Dear softball, where to begin with what you have given me? I have struggled with you at times, but you have unequivocally made me who I am today. You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter. Growing up, you were there for me when social groups may not have been. You were there through familiar hard times, and you never gave up on me. You have introduced me to so many influential people in my life, and I wouldn't have dreamt of meeting if it was not for you. You always kept me motivated to pursue a dream. No matter what was going on in life, you kept inspiring me to chase my dreams. And you have taught me many life lessons of overcoming, perseverance, and what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your craft. You have taught me that success is not guaranteed or promised, and that it is earned every second of every day. Softball, you have guided me, pushed me to be my best, and inspired me. You kept me going when I thought I had no more to give. At times, you were my last hope. You have led me to this moment here, today, where I could not be more indebted to you. My name is Jenna Lilly. I am a senior softball player at the University of Oregon, majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology.
And we are back from the CSI Softball Complex. Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside Nicholas Bavona ahead of this NCAA Division II softball matchup in East Coast Conference play. The College of Staten Island Dolphins meet the D'Youville University Saints. And Nick, there is a playoff spot on the line for these two teams here today, and the Dolphins send their ace, Kennedy Ruth, into the circle for Game 1.
Couldn't ask for a better type of feel here today at the CSI Softball Complex. A bit windier today compared to the last couple games we've called here, but with a lot going on the line, adrenaline is pumping for both of these teams. You mentioned it. Playoff spot on the line for both sides. Dolphins need 2 to get in. D'Youville needs 1 to get in. The Saints, of course, looking to make sure that Game 2 does not mean anything. Win this first game and already solidify their spot into the ECC playoffs.
First batter of the game, Emily Shibish, getting set to step in, and we'll get you the full Saints lineup in just a few moments. In the field for the Dolphins, first to third, Acosta, Motley, Balderas, and Warner. In the outfield, left to right, Acosta, Carcano, and Stalker. First pitch of the game is taken for a called strike, 0-1, and we are underway from the CSI Softball Complex.
Dolphins go, of course, with their regular defensive alignment here today in terms of the infield and outfield. Corner infielders moving in case of a bunt.
And that is slapped right back to the circle, handled by Ruth, who throws on to Acosta at first for the game's first out.
Call that a swinging bunt if you want to call that one, Joe. As a nice job by Ruth in the circle, makes the nice throw, and 2 pitches, 1 out here in this contest.
That is textbook slap hitting to the left side by Shibish. She is retired, and Gianna Adama will be the batter. When I went through the Dolphins' defense, I did not mention that behind the plate is Natalia Kanoth. She forms the battery with Kennedy Ruth. First pitch to Adamo, foul back, 0-1.
And what's good about getting that first out, Joe, with Shibish, she's 24-25 on the season in stolen base attempts, so that was a big out for the Dolphins to get early in this game.
The 0-1 on its way, and that's taken high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And we've seen Ruth, of course, these last couple of weeks, Joe, go through extensive pitch counts. Dolphins, of course, hoping that they don't have to have a very high pitch count here again today. And who knows, if they get the victory in Game 1, you could maybe see Kennedy Ruth in Game number 2 as well.
I think it's certainly a possibility that she could pitch in both games if necessary. She wouldn't start both games, but
Right.
if needed for some key outs late, I could definitely see her being inserted back into the game.
Count now 1-2.
And that's taken up and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you mentioned the doubleheader these two teams did the last time. A very, as you mentioned, different contrast of styles those two games. A 1-0 win in Game 1 for Deauville, 13-11 win for the Dolphins in Game 2. So a pitcher's duel, then going to a hitter's duel.
And that pitch is taken just off the outside corner. And Adamo has run it full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
We just missed it on that outside corner. Deauville crowd getting very excited here as well. Nice showing for both of these squads here today in support of a playoff berth.
The payoff pitch swung on and missed for strike 3. Kennedy Ruth, with her first strikeout, has now retired the first 2 Saints.
And pretty much that one was almost the exact same spot, Joe. On the outside corner, forced Adamo to swing on that pitch, gets the strikeout, and she's got the first 2 batters gone here in the home first. Or the away first, excuse me.
That will bring up the number 3 hitter, Annie Jorgensen. And that is hit to second. Easy play for Motley, who throws on to Acosta at first to retire the side. Saints go down 1-2-3 in the top half of inning number 1. Dolphins come to bat when we come back.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back from the CSI softball complex as we get set for the bottom half of inning number 1. No score between the Dolphins and the Saints, and very quickly we'll get you the starting lineup for the College of Staten Island. Leading off is Anissa Acosta, followed by Mariah Carcano, Amanda Stalker, Eileen Balderas, Olivia Wanzer, Olivia Warner, Bridget Motley, Natalia Kanoth, Alyssa Acosta, and of course in the circle was Kennedy Ruth. In the circle on the side of Deauville is Sarah Parzic. And Nick, we talked about how well she pitched against the Dolphins earlier this season. Very similar numbers for both Parzic and Kennedy Ruth this year in terms of ERA. And the Dolphins will have a tough task in front of them, picking up a Game 1 victory against Parzic.
Yeah, Parzic, Joe, of course, number 4 in the ECC at ERA. Kennedy Ruth, number 5 in the conference in ERA this season. We mentioned the 1-0 game that they had the last time out. We could maybe see a similar feat here today, but as we mentioned it on Tuesday when the Dolphins faced Mercy, they got to Brandon Mart early, put up a 4 spot in the first inning. They would love to do that here again today against Deauville.
Anissa Acosta leading things off against Parzic, and she looks at that pitch just low for ball 1.
Acosta, as we mentioned, Joe, has had a fantastic season for the Dolphins, batting average at .385 on the year. I'd like to start this game off with a bang.
Acosta awaits the 1-0 pitch. And that's hit to the opposite field, falling fast. It's down in right field. It gets by into the corner. Acosta off to the races. She rounds second, headed for third. And Acosta is on with a base hit to lead off the game. We will see if they score that in error and right. I believe they probably will.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the score is. It's going to go down as at least a single and an error on the play, it looks like. Acosta takes advantage of that play. And how about that start for the Dolphins show? They get a bloop hit into right. A bad bounce goes against the Saints. And now an early runner on third base for CSI.
Beck overran the ball. It got by her. Mariah Carcano at the plate now. The Dolphins with the leadoff batter on third. Infield way in
Wild
as that's
pitch.
blocked. Acosta heading home. And Acosta will score. Just 3 pitches into the game, and the Dolphins have taken a 1-0 lead.
What an unconventional way for the Dolphins to get this early lead in this game. You get the single, the error and right, and then the wild pitch in the dirt. Acosta scores. And how about this, Joe? We talked about the Dolphins needing to get out a good start in this one. They're already off to a 1-0 lead, and still nobody out in the inning.
The Dolphins did not score against Parzic in 7 when they visited Buffalo. They have scored just 2 batters and 3 pitches into the first inning of this game here at home.
And we talked about the team psyche going into this game. You know, we saw what happened on Tuesday. They jumped out to that 4-0 lead. The game got away from them. And, of course, that second game really did not mean much in terms of the status for today's game. But if the Dolphins, of course, they get out to this 1-0 lead now, the team's psyche's off to a good start. Still a long way to go in this game, but it's got to feel good for this team getting out to this early lead.
No question about it, Nick, as Mariah Carcano awaits the 1-0 pitch. Infield still way in for the Saints. And that's lined into shallow left field for another Dolphins hit. Carcano on with a single, and the Dolphins have another base runner, still nobody out.
And you got to feel right now, if you're D'Youville, it's got to be frustrating how these 2 hits have gone. It's been soft contact on both hits for the Dolphins. Carcano hit that one on a soft liner into left field, as you mentioned. She's on with a base hit. Dangerous base runner now for the Dolphins here. And now Amanda Stalker, who leads the team in batting average, comes up to the plate.
Stalker had herself a tremendous month of April. Still a few days left, as that's taken low for ball 1. Should the Dolphins go on to win both games today, they would play on Thursday, presumably at Stack. I think that might be a certainty at this point, but we'll double-check that in between games.
I believe it is, Joe.
That pitch taken out of the zone by Stalker. Count 2-0.
For those that don't know, of course, the team that has the best conference record, I believe, if not, correct me if I'm wrong, the team with the best conference record hosts the playoffs.
That is correct.
And they have no chance of falling out.
That's popped up along the line, but foul.
We talked about this on Tuesday. Mercy, obviously, with the sweep of the Dolphins, they are now tied with Malloy in the conference standings. And I'm assuming those games that they were originally supposed to play yesterday got moved as well to today. Mercy still has to play Queens as well. But even if they win those games, Joe, they still would not have enough wins to catch St. Thomas Aquinas, who has 15 on the season.
All right, so the Spartans did get to 15. They've locked up the 1 seed. As Stalker contacts that ball in a half swing, a defensive half cut, and the count runs to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And for Parzic here, Joe, of course, would love to get a strikeout, get that first out of the inning. It's been a frustrating start to the inning, as we mentioned. 2 soft hits for the Dolphins, a bad bounce at right field, a bad bounce at the plate. Gives CSI this early lead.
Here comes the 2-2. And it looked like Stalker, with another half swing, tapped that one to second. Carcano moves up, and Stalker is retired for the first out in the home first.
And if Carcano does not go on that play, Joe, that might have had a chance to get her out at second base. That one was hit towards second, but she was already running on the pitch, so the Dolphins avoided that force out play at second base. And now Eileen Balderas will come up with an RBI opportunity.
Well, Nick, for those who don't know, I'm up in the baseball press box calling the game from the window. Was that a half swing by Stalker?
No, it was a full swing.
It was. A lot of tree branches between me and the field as Balderas takes a called strike.
Well, I will say, from our position, of course, behind home plate, is a very windy day, as we've already mentioned. So we've had a couple of dust clouds with some of the dirt coming towards us back here at the backstop. So it's been a very interesting start to this game.
The pitch to Balderas, swung on and missed. 0-2.
And, of course, with that being that could be a factor in this game, Joe. Obviously, these teams have to avoid that when you're the batter or even the catcher behind the plate. So got to be very careful right now in the way this game has gone with the wind factor maybe playing into this one.
And it's very sudden as well, Nick. Out of nowhere, a gust can consume that area around the plate. And Balderas fouls the 0-2 back.
I was treated to it as soon as I got down here, maybe not even 5 minutes after our initial setup. I had to think about, it was one of those days where I said, thankfully, I brought some sunglasses so I can at least, I'm not blind in one of my eyes.
Count still 0-2 on Balderas. And she fouls off another, but Nick, as our viewers who tuned in on Tuesday may know, I began game one behind home plate, lasted 2 innings, tapped out, went to the office to call the rest of that doubleheader, didn't get on until the 3rd inning of game 2, and now I've been banished up into the baseball press box to escape the allergens in the air.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pollen, dirt, wind these last couple of days. As I mentioned, the last couple of days have been nice in terms of weather-wise. It's been around the 70-degree mark, and today back into around the 50, 60-degree mark with, as we mentioned, a gust of wind happening.
Well, I can tell you I'm good for nothing down around the area behind home plate with the allergens and the wind. Nice and comfortable up here in the box as Balderas fouls off another, and this battle continues.
This is what CSI needed. Force the pitch count up early in this game, force her to make a mistake. We're already seeing the Dolphins get 2 hits in the inning, and another hit right here will bring home that runner from second in Carcano and give CSI a 2-0 lead potentially.
Another 0-2 on the way. Hit well, left field, carrying toward the wall, and caught at the fence. Balderas made a bid to put the Dolphins in front by 3, and Howes had just enough room.
And we talked about it, Joe. I just mentioned it about the win today. It's definitely going to play a factor. That one definitely played a factor on that one. That ball looked initially wasn't going to go far, got all the way towards the fence, and as you mentioned, a great catch out in left field by Howes. Carcano did move up to third base, so the Dolphins now have the runner on third for 2 outs, and Olivia Wanser will come up to the plate.
And, Nick, we always joke about the color guy not stepping on home run calls. If one goes to center, I am not going to be able to see it.
I got you.
As that pitch is taken by Wanser for ball 1.
You, of course, were at Heroes Day on Thursday. Very interesting game for that one in terms of you unfortunately have to get off the headset for just a single solitary second, but at least in some viewers' eyes. But very good job by you both as well on Thursday night for another great Heroes Day for CSI Baseball.
Well, I was off headset just long enough to miss a grand slam,
yes.
So lucky me. Wanser ahead here, 2-0. Pitch, fouled off.
And of course, Joe, Wanser on Tuesday, we talked about that 4-run first inning for the Dolphins. She had the biggest hit of that inning, that 3-run homer that put CSI up 4-0. It gave them a very good start to that game against Brandon Martin and Mercy and gave them a chance to win that one. Count now goes 2-1.
Long look in from Parzic, the 2-1 pitch. Off-speed pitch in at the knees for a strike.
That could certainly fool a batter right there when you've been seeing fastballs on the at-bat, and then she goes right to that breaking ball. Now the count evens at 2.
And you could see, even from up here, Nick, how much of a drop-off there was in velocity on that pitch.
And you can hear the wind as well, Joe.
Sure can.
It is.
And the 2-2 is outside. Count full on Wanser.
It's blaring from not only where we're positioned behind home plate, but it's also blaring from where you are in the press box.
Well, I'm going to pay you a visit between innings, so be ready for me in the next 2 minutes.
Okay.
The payoff pitch. Fouled off.
We talked about pitch counts being a factor all the time, Joe, here at softball. We saw Ruth in that first inning throw 9 pitches. Partridge right now is at 16.
You'll take that, considering the kind of inning it's been, as
Another
Wanser
wild
takes
pitch.
ball 4. Here comes Carcano, and she will score. A wild pitch gets away. It's a walk issued to Wanser, and Carcano scores the second Dolphins run.
The Dolphins with heads-up base running in the inning, Joe. Second wild pitch of the inning. Carcano noticed it immediately as the ball hit basically off of the home plate, and that gave the Dolphins a chance to go up 2. They now have an early 2-0 lead in this contest.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, you have to feel great about where you are right now, ahead by 2. They get that big 2-out run that has eluded them so often this year. And against a pitcher that shut you out last time you faced her, to get 2 in the first really has to be a big confidence boost. Olivia Warner at the plate, swings and misses for strike 1.
And you talked about what happened in the second game of the doubleheader between these two teams. You know, D'Youville had a chance to tie or walk it off with the bases loaded. The Dolphins had a similar feat on Tuesday in that first game against Mercy. Bases loaded, had a chance to tie or walk it off. So both these teams have been in a spot where they could have certainly changed the outcomes of some of their games.
That pitch taken for a called strike by Warner, and she's quickly behind 0-2.
Here comes the wind. Here comes
Nick, what a difference it would have been had the Dolphins not come back in that second game against D'Youville. If they don't come back in the seventh inning of that game and flip the script a bit, they're out of it today, and they don't even have a chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
Here comes the 0-2. Swing and a miss by Warner, strike 3, and that will do it for the Dolphins in the home first inning. But not before CSI strikes for 2 runs against Sarah Parzic. The Dolphins lead 2-0 after 1.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Summer Clark will lead it off here in the top of the second inning. Bloops it down towards the Dolphin dugout, but foul. Count goes to 0-1. Second inning has started. I'll be joined by Joe Foreman in just a little bit. He's trying to add another audio source for our broadcast here. As the wind again begins to pick up the 0-1. Misses low in the dirt for a ball. 1-1 now the count. And now 2-0 lead for the Dolphins here in this contest. 2 hits for CSI in that first. Coasted with that blooper into right. Ball got past the right fielder Beck. That allowed her to go to third base. She then came around to score on the wild pitch. That one hits towards Motley. She'll throw it onto Acosta in time, and there's now 1 away in the inning.
The right fielder, number 15, Laura Beck.
Laura Beck, as we mentioned, now comes up to the plate. Had a bad bounce go against her in the first inning. That allowed Acosta, as I mentioned, go to third. She scored on the wild pitch. After that, Carcano had a single into left field. She advanced to second on a hit and run. She then got to third base on a sacrifice fly into left field and then scored on a wild pitch as well. And that home first inning for the Dolphins. Here comes the 1-0 from Ruth. Hit into left, long run for Acosta, and she is not having enough real estate. It's fouled. The count goes to 1-1. Now 1-1 count here for Beck. Having a nice season for the Saints, hitting .337 on the year with 18 RBIs. Just mentioned last half inning, Kennedy Ruth needing just 9 pitches to get out of the first inning. She missed on the outside with that one. 2-1 now the count. Two and 1 now the count here for Beck. And it's on the outside corner for a strike. Count evens now at 2. D'Youville faithful not happy with that call. But that one was on a little bit on the outside. Count now 2-2. Here comes the 2-2 from Ruth. And that one goes out of play, foul. Count remains even. Do it again here on 2-2. Now it misses low and inside for ball 3. And the count now will be full at 3-2. So Beck has fouled off a couple of pitches. Now has to count full at 3-2. Here comes the 3-2 from Ruth. That one's on the outside as Beck swings and misses for strike 3. And there's now 2 away. Another strikeout for Kennedy Ruth in this game. 2 gone in the inning. Gabby Moreno now comes up with 2 gone. Second punch out of the game as that one misses low for a ball, 1-0 the count. Moreno on the year hitting .316 with 20 RBIs. Third on the team in RBIs this season with that 20 mark. So that one skips in the dirt for ball 2. 2-0 now the count. Early 2-0 count here for Moreno. .2-0 from Ruth. Hit down the third base line, but foul. 2-1 now. Two and one now the count here from Moreno. Getting the start behind the plate for the Saints here today. She takes that one on the outside for ball 3. 3-1 now the count. Moreno trying to extend the inning here with a walk. And force the tie run to the plate. And here comes the 3-1. And she does force the 2-out walk. So Moreno's on first now after the walk. Shannon House will now come up. She represents the tie run at the plate early in this contest. And 3-11 on the season for the Saints. That takes that pitch on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1 the count. Time called. Player will resume here now. An 0-1 here for House. She hits that one foul, out of play. 0-2 now the count. Ruth looking for her third strikeout of the game. Has an 0-2 count here. And misses on the outside for ball 1. Count now goes to 1-2. Here comes the 1-2. Hit down the third base line, but foul once again. Count will remain 1-2. Still a 1-2 count here for Ruth. Moreno on first with 2 gone in the inning. Now it misses high for ball 2. Ruth trying to avoid giving up another base runner here with 2 gone. Now has the count even at 2. Here comes the 2-2. Now misses low in the dirt for ball 3. Moreno will now go to second base. And now Howes with a base hit can bring home that runner from second and cut this deficit to 1. As Ruth now is in danger of walking her second batter straight in the inning. It's now a full count for the left fielder. 3-2 for Howes. Here comes the 3-2 from Ruth. Hit right towards Warner at third base, and that will retire the side. A nice job by Olivia Warner over at the hot corner. Makes the play, and the Dolphins retire the side. Saints straight a runner on second here in the top of the second. We head to the home second. Dolphins lead 2-0.
NCAA athletes don't just compete. They make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence. They bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
All All right, we are back here for the home second. We apologize for technical difficulties here at the CSI Softball Complex. Not much missed here in this home second. Dolphins' first two batters came and gone, and now it's Alyssa Acosta with two gone in the inning. This once again, the gust of wind and dirt comes towards us behind here in the backstop. Count is now 2-1 here for Alyssa Acosta, getting the start in left field for the Dolphins. This time is called behind the plate. Partridge, which we saw in the first inning, gave the two first base hits of this game and allowed both runners to score via the wild pitch. You can probably hear it on the audio how loud the wind is. We mentioned it earlier. Wind just definitely will be a factor at the duration of these two games here today. 2-1. That misses high for ball 3. We always talk about it. You don't want to walk the number 9 hitter in the order. If Acosta were to get on, then Anissa Acosta will be on deck. We'll be back to the Dolphin top of the lineup. Here comes the 3-1. And Acosta hits that one foul and out of play. It's now 3-2. Now full count here, 3-2. Dolphins looking to spark some two-out rally here in the second. Here comes the 3-2. Hit towards second. Backhand stop. Throw to first base is in time. And that will retire the side. Nice defensive play to end this home second as the Dolphins go down 1-2-3. We head to the top of the third inning with the Dolphins leading this game by the score of 2-0.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Becker Sawyer hits that one into right field. That one's in for a base hit. First pitch swinging here in the top of the third. And it's a leadoff base hit for the Saints. Their first hit of this contest.
The shortstop.
So Becca Sawyer gets that single. Now the tying run comes to the plate, showing bunt. Hit back towards the circle. It'll be Warner on the play at third base. She gets in time for the first out. Molly trying to get the out bat at second base. They did not get it in avail, but the Dolphins do get the out at first.
All right, Nick, how you doing?
A little bit better now. Just gotta keep the wind and dirt and all that from coming back to the backstop. It's not been fun in terms of that. Sacrifice fly to start this inning, Joe, sacrifice bunt. Now gives the Saints a RBI opportunity here with one gone in the inning.
Well, if you can't tell by my shortness of breath, I had to sprint back into position.
Excuse me for the cough. That's all
you are excused, sir.
Yeah.
If I was down there, I'd be coughing plenty.
Yeah, the dirt's definitely playing a factor right now.
That pitch taken out of the zone.
It's back to the top of the lineup here for the Saints, Joe. They now put on the board strike, so the count is 1-1 instead of 2-0.
Well, if there was a strike call, I certainly didn't see it, but it can be.
And that might be this conversation that they're having over at third. Is you can hear it on our headsets. The wind just continues to intensify, and I think that's
nasty down there, Nick.
Yeah, I think that was the conversation they just had. I think initially they thought it was a ball, then got overturned to a strike, but now it's 1-1. And you mentioned it is definitely getting nasty down here in terms of the wind, the dirt, the gusts. It's just not a good combination right now.
It is a mess behind home plate. Pitch to Shibish, popped up, foul ground, and Warner up against the fence, could not make the catch.
Not an easy play right there.
Not at all.
Now the count goes to 1-2.
Well, we saw Warner come together with Natalia Knoth on a play during the doubleheader earlier in the week. It almost happened twice, as that pitch is taken just out of the zone.
That's been a spot where Ruth's been going at so far in this game on that outside corner. Has gotten a couple of strikes there. Even got a strikeout or two once or twice with that pitch on the outside corner, but just missed. It's now 2-2.
2-2. Tapped right back to the circle again, and Ruth is there waiting. She makes the throw to first, and there are 2 gone in the inning.
That looked exactly similar almost, Joe, to what happened the first time they encountered. Shibish hit that one back towards the circle, pretty much on a half swing. And it's another swinging bunt, if you want to call it that. They move the runner to third base, and now 2 gone in the inning.
It will be left to the number 2 hitter for the Saints, Gianna Adamo. And that pitch is taken for a strike at the knees, 0-1.
Oh, man.
I can hear it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It is.
Good thing I'm covered today with a very nice sweatshirt. I don't feel as cold.
Just getting a piece there was Adamo. She's behind 0-2.
I had my initial Knicks jacket on to start the day, and then I was informed of a sweatshirt that arrived for me today. So
now, do we give them the Foreman booth cam for a look at the exclusive merch?
Might have to.
As a run will not score in this inning. Nick, I looked away, and the catch was made, so that'll do it for the Saints. Dolphins come to bat in the bottom half of the third. They lead it 2-0.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
And we are back from the CSI Softball Complex for the bottom half of the third inning. The Dolphins will send the top of their order to the plate. 1, 2, and 3, Acosta, Carcano, and Stalker.
I promise Joe's mic's not booming, it's just the wind.
That is very true. Pitch taken low by Acosta. 1-0.
As I told you earlier, the reason why the mic sounds that loud is because of your booming personality.
That's true. My personality only booms on headset and on broadcast.
Yes.
Pitch on its way, and that's fouled off.
One of the rare occasions where I wasn't on the broadcast with you guys this past week on Thursday, as I mentioned earlier, and I got to hear you and Joe on the call. As I mentioned, great job at both of you, as well as everyone that worked on Thursday night. And very good game for the Dolphins baseball team, who I've been informed is now here at softball, cheering on the softball team trying to make the playoffs.
Costa hits that one right back to the circle, and she's out. 1 away.
So good job by Parjic on that one. Right back towards the circle. Gets revenge from that first at-bat against Acosta, and now gets the first out of the inning.
Pitchers have been very busy defensively in the circle in this game, Nick.
Yeah.
They've had quite a few hitting right back at him. The old Adam ball. Mariah Carcano at the plate now. She's 1 for 1. Also scored a run in the first. And she takes a strike, 0-1. The 0-1. Popped up, foul territory, and out of play.
All right, Joe, I'm back. I was joined by one of the baseball members. Someone lost their keys over so they have to go make it. We have to make an announcement. I'm assuming maybe at some point.
They might be my keys, Nick.
Is it well, it's a Honda. Is that?
Yeah, they're mine.
Okay, so okay.
With the King Dakar keychain on them?
I didn't see it. I'll have to look in a second.
Yeah, they're mine. They're not attached to my belt anymore.
Let me see, Joe. I think Joe just even said it was Foreman's. I think that's what he just said to us.
Yeah. Now, did I break
Where
the
did you
keychain
leave him?
off my belt? As that's it out towards straightaway left, and the catch is made for the out.
I just want to know where you left it. I should have asked him where you found it.
Probably sprinting up to the box.
You probably did lose it on the way to the box. That's probably right.
Now, is there a full set of keys there?
It's yours.
Okay. Is the clip still there?
I think so.
Maybe it fell out of the pouch in my brand new College of Staten Island Deer hoodie.
Yeah, it might have.
Just send me a picture between innings. As
Yeah.
That's taken low by Amanda Stalker.
Here, Seth, let me see those keys.
Access to all of our athletic facilities with those keys.
Yeah, good thing someone from baseball gave it over.
Stalker takes a strike. 1-1.
I'll have Steph hold on to them for now.
Keep those safe now. Your job depends on it.
Well, it's Steph's job now. That's why I gave it to her. So it's her responsibility.
Steph's redemption arc after Tuesday, or Thursday, I should say, as that's taken high.
Been a long week.
Does Blue Moon sponsor us?
Do you want it to?
Count 2-1 on Stalker.
Has been a long year, but it's been a very eventful year here at CSI.
The 2-1. In the dirt, ball 3.
Stalker looking to work a 2-out walk here. Bring Balderas up on deck.
Stalker looking to extend the inning. Here comes the 3-1. Popped up. Foul ground, playable. And
It is caught.
reaching toward the fence and making the catch was Jorgensen. Nicely done up against that high fence down the right field line. And that will do it for the Dolphins in the home third. We are through 3 from the College of Staten Island. Dolphins lead the Saints 2-0.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Annie Jorgensen will lead off for Dieuville as they come to bat in the top half of the 4th inning. Dolphins lead this game 2-0. Pitch from Ruth fouled back. 0-1 on Jorgensen.
Well, Joe, I just mentioned earlier that last half inning, the baseball team is here, and they made their voices heard that last foul ball.
They make their presence felt wherever they go. If they are a part of the crowd,
They make their presence felt, whether it's cheering on the softball team or retrieving car keys.
true. One might argue the latter is more important, as that's taken high.
Count now 1-1. As we already mentioned, Joe, we're here on the broadcast today for the Dolphins softball team against Dieuville. Next week, the Dolphins baseball team will take on Dieuville, and they will try to clinch a postseason berth next week.
That's hit in the air, shallow right, foul ground, and out of play. Wait, it really took that one, Nick.
Yeah.
It's much more apparent when you're watching the game from the outfield how that ball really moves, especially considering that you're blinded by gusts of dirt behind the plate.
Can you put a big emphasis on blinded?
You do have the sports shades, which are a big help. You have
Yeah.
full coverage.
I almost didn't bring them today because it wasn't as sunny when I left my house today. And I said, you know what, I probably should bring these just in case. And I'm very glad I did bring them.
Smart man.
I would have been up in the booth with you if that was the case.
Swing and a miss by Jorgensen for strike 3. And for Kennedy Ruth, that's her third punch out.
I don't mean to laugh, but I could just hear the baseball emotes or cheers they made after that strikeout was very, very loud. I wonder if you picked it up on the headset.
Well, I had to place my headset over my hood to drown out the sound of my own voice, which is on a delay of about 50 milliseconds. So I'm 50 milliseconds behind live action from my location up in the press box. But if you noticed during the open, Nick, I'm sure our viewers did, I was immediately thrown off completely by the sound of my voice in the headset. Couldn't get through it. As that one is long.
What a play at third.
Over to third, and you said it, Nick. Great play to snag that by Warner.
Warner, that's the second time, and as I mentioned earlier, they call it the hot corner for a reason, Joe. You have to be very quick to make a decision on that play. Second time, she's had a line drive hit towards her, and she makes the catch for the second out of the inning.
Nicely done by Warner to take a base hit away from Summer Clark. And now Laura Beck will be the batter.
Win just continues, and we've actually lost the scoreboard here for a second.
Really?
Yeah, the lights are off on the board.
Uh-oh.
Now they're back on. We're good to go. I at least hope.
That's right.
Joe sounds like he's calling the game from actually within the wind right now. The way that microphone sounds, it's not.
When the wind comes through my microphone, it comes through very loud, I assume.
Yeah, I've tried to play around with the audio.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. I'm a bit higher than you are.
Yeah.
What
You have some elevation towards you on this call today.
We're going to open my window wider, and maybe that'll make it a bit better because my microphone was near the opening in the window, and it was a tight opening to keep the allergens out, but now the window's wide open. And taking all the way there was Beck. She draws the walk.
Second straight inning, Joe, that Ruth has issued a 2-out walk. As Beck is on, and now I'll bring on Moreno with 2 gone.
Big question is, has anyone else noticed that I'm up here yet?
I don't think anyone's asked at the moment, so I guess not.
At the plate, Gabby Moreno. And she takes a knee-high strike, 0-1.
Time is called, and probably a good thing, because once again, here comes the dirt.
I'll cover my microphone a bit with my hand. Does that help at all?
That sound better now. You can
so
still
I have
hear
my
it
hand
regardless.
cupped over the microphone to try and keep the wind out.
Yeah, it's not doing much as Moreno is hit by the pitch.
So I think we do have some microphone wind screens in my office. This microphone might be too big for it, but we'll have to take a look because we need to do something. I know your microphone has a wind screen.
Time is called now, Joe, as Christine Wanka would now come out towards the circle and talk with her pitcher. A walk and now a hit batter. And now for the Saints, they have the go-ahead runner at the plate.
Well, for D'Youville in this game, just 1 hit. The Dolphins have 2. Prior to the walk that Ruth issued to Beck, D'Youville's top 4 in the lineup were a combined 0 for 8. Their lone hit belongs to the number 8 hitter. That is Becca Sawyer. And the Dolphins now facing a bit of a precarious spot. 2 outs in the inning, which certainly helps, but with the tying runs on base, if you're Kennedy Ruth, this is a jam you'd like to escape with a 2-run lead. The further into this game you can carry that 2-run lead, the easier it becomes to close it out.
Well, we saw what happened on Tuesday, Joe, that 4-0 lead we mentioned. And early in that game, Mercy clawed their way back. Most of their runs came with 2 outs. So the Dolphins are trying to avoid that here today, especially if you're Kennedy Ruth. You get this final out of the inning, keep your lead at 2.
That pitch missed badly for ball 1. Shannon Howes at the plate here. She's 0 for 1. The 0-1. This is for ball 2. I can hear, Nick. They don't sound happy down there.
They are not, Joe. They are not. I have never heard someone that vocal.
Very, very upset.
We've got some angry spectators here.
Angry fanatics. As that misses for ball 3.
And as I mentioned earlier, there's a good crowd for both of these teams here today with a lot on the line. a lot of spectators here could lead to some very interesting interactions.
That's in for a strike, 3-1.
And they showed
Ball
their
loves it, Nick.
They love that call.
I feel like I'm right there behind the plate with you.
Now, can you hear it?
I can hear it, Nick.
Okay, so then our viewers can hear it as well.
And that's taken high for ball 4.
And now some danger for the Dolphins in the inning. Ruth has not allowed a base hit in the inning, but with 2 walks, a hit batter. Now the bases are loaded here, and as you mentioned, Becca Sawyer, her first time up, got a base hit on the first pitch she saw. If she gets a base hit again, she could potentially tie the game.
This is a huge, huge out for Kennedy Ruth and a huge at-bat for D'Youville. As that's chopped on the infield, played at second by Motley. She goes the short way, and the side is
the
retired.
baseball team is elated.
Saints strand the bases loaded. The baseball team loves it, and the Dolphins maintain a 2-run lead.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Eileen Balderas will lead off for the Dolphins in the home half of the 4th inning. Saints with a major threat in the top half. That threat averted by Kennedy Ruth and the Dolphins as D'Youville stranded the bases loaded.
A huge out that Kennedy Ruth got in that last half inning, and now the Dolphins will try to extend their 2-0 lead in this game.
4, 5, and 6 due up for the Dolphins as Eileen Balderas takes a strike. Balderas just missing a home run in her first at-bat. The 0-1. This is low, 1-1.
As I mentioned on that bat, Balderas almost got an assist from the wind in that one because it didn't look like off the bat initially it was going to carry all the way towards almost the warning track. And that ball almost got over the fence, but it was just caught in front of that.
The 1-1. Fouled away.
I was looking to see if one of the baseball players would be able to catch that, but it was a little bit away from the bleachers.
I think if you're a member of the baseball team, you have to go for it if it's within range.
Well, I can tell you right now, the one that went to go retrieve the ball was Mike Morrow.
Does it all.
Does it all.
And the 1-2 is chopped foul. Got a very nice text from Coach Morrow the other night after the Heroes Day game. He expressed his appreciation for me and for all of our game day crew, making that event a possibility. It took me almost 2 full days to get the full 17 gigabyte edit of the broadcast to upload to the ECC network, but we did it.
Yeah.
That's taken outside by Balderas. 2-2.
And considering the fact that we changed venues for this year as well, I think everything, from what I saw at home watching the broadcast, looked like everything went great. Everything went according to plan. It was another successful Heroes night for CSI Baseball.
For at least one night, Lou escaped from under the bus.
One night only.
2-2 is hit in the air, shallow left, just beyond the infield. And the catch is made by the shortstop, Arnaud, one away.
I called Lou after that game. I told him, I said, I heard the speeches went well. Everything went good after that as well. So good job, as I mentioned, for him. Good job for Steph on stats, Pat on scoreboard. Even for one missed play. Well, you know, we won't speak
Well,
about
it was
that.
An extra play. It was an
Yeah,
extra play that
yeah.
derailed my broadcast and allowed Joe the chance to call his first Grand Slam.
And, of course, he was featured on the CSI Baseball Instagram page with that home
should have
run
been
call.
me, not him. Olivia Wanzer takes outside for ball 1.
Joe has always expressed his interest in calling games with us here. Got the chance on Thursday, and I believe he'll be on the call with me next Saturday and Sunday, potentially, for CSI Baseball's final games of the regular season.
We might have a 3-man crew on Sunday.
Might have.
That pitch taken on the inside corner by Wanzer, 1-1.
And you and I have already discussed what CSI needs to do next week against D'Youville in order to make the postseason. But it's been a remarkable year for the Dolphins baseball team, and they are inching closer and closer to that first postseason berth as a Division II program.
Wanzer takes a strike at the knees, 1-2. Well, we'll have a much better idea of what baseball needs to do following the end of the day today. Maybe tomorrow if games are postponed. The 1-2. Just missed.
And just missed on that outside corner. Not a bad pitch. And a good take by Wanzer on that one. She now evens the count at 2.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count on the Dolphins' designated player. Wanzer walked her first time and just got a piece there to stay alive.
Well, we saw in the first at bat, Parzic went to that off-speed pitch on 2-1 to get the second strike. Had a 2-2 count here as here comes the wind and the dirt again. And was able to get that pitch, and barely, as you mentioned, Wanzer just got a piece of it.
I'm not sure there's another broadcast that makes you feel like you're closer to the action right now.
Yeah, how could you miss anything?
And Wanzer fouls that one off.
Over the bleachers.
Did anyone make the catch?
It went over the bleachers, so no one had a chance to. Yeah, Espinosa will have to go retrieve that one.
Pitch to Wanzer on its way. Hit sharply left side and through. Base hit. Good diving attempt at short to make that close, but Arnaud couldn't get it. And Wanzer's on with a 1-out single.
Oh, we talked about now having, more spectators in attendance here today, Joe. That could definitely help you in some of your at-bats. A good at-bat by Wanzer. Worked the count even at 2 and just got that single past the diving shortstop, as you mentioned. And she's on to start with 1 out, 1 gone in the inning.
Olivia Warner at the plate now. Wanzer the runner on first with 1 out in the inning. Warner struck out in her first at-bat, and she swings and misses here 0-1.
I wish I knew what they were just chanting a second ago. I did not hear what they were saying a second ago.
I can't hear the words coming out of their mouths that clearly, but I can hear disappointment. I can hear excitement. I can pick up the emotion of it from out here in right field.
And we talked about it earlier. There's a lot of emotion in this game for these two teams today. A playoff berth on the line for both of these teams, and it's a different circumstance for both of them. For D'Youville, you win 1, you're in. The Dolphins, you win both, you're in. So a lot's on the line, and this first game really decides what's going to happen going into Game 2 potentially. CSI gets the win. They have a lot of momentum going into that second game.
Pitch from Parzic. Swung on and missed once again.
Fastball right chest high past Warner. She took a big cut and missed it. Now count goes to 0-2.
So what do you think? I'm about 50 feet up and maybe 150 feet behind the outfield wall?
I'll take your word for it. I'm not good with measurements.
The 0-2. Just missed? No, it's a called strike 3.
Delayed strike 3 call behind home
Warner
plate.
hung around as if she thought she was getting that call, but the called third strike came in a bit after that, and there are 2 gone in the inning.
We've had a couple umpires the last couple of games, whether it's softball or baseball, that have had a delayed strike 3 call, so we have to be on our toes waiting to see if it is strike 3 or if it's a ball.
Suspense.
So much suspense here today.
Bridget Motley the batter now with 2 away in the inning. And Motley takes out of the zone, ball 1.
We were remiss, Joe, if I didn't mention, had a career milestone on Tuesday against Mercy. Her first career home run in that Game 2 matchup with the Mavericks.
That was her first career home run?
I believe that was her first career home run, yeah.
I would have guessed she definitely had one last year.
I will double check, but I could have swore on the Instagram post that they posted after the game was over.
Shame on us then. I think that's a compliment, though. We assume she homered already.
Yes.
Motley ahead here, 2-0, and she lines one out to shallow right. Coming in to make the catch on the move in right center was Beck, and that will do it for the Dolphins in the home fourth inning.
Joe, that was her first career home run on Tuesday, just to clarify. So we were
shame on me again. Dolphins strand one in the fourth. We head to the fifth. Staten Island over Duville, 2-0.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Sophia Arnaud will lead things off for Duville here in the fifth inning. Dolphins with a 2-0 lead. Kennedy Ruth was able to strand the bases loaded in the fourth. The Dolphins stranded a runner on in the bottom half, and Ruth returns to the circle, still with a 2-run lead.
And Ruth, that last pitch was pitch number 60 in the game for her. So nice pace she's had so far in this game.
Count now even 1-1 after that pitch misses, but we spoke about it very quickly during the break as we were about to come back, Nick. Ruth, despite a really tough inning in the fourth, still has a relatively low pitch count. Came in under 60 pitches through the first 4 innings.
And I think the scenario we brought up with Ruth, if the Dolphins are able to win this game, you could see her in game 2, but you could make the same case for Duville, where if they lose this first game, Partridge won't start, but you have to think she'll pitch in the second game as well.
That's it out to shallow right, and Stalker makes the diving catch. What a play by Amanda Stalker as she takes a base hit away from Arnaud.
Well, Joe, I've asked the question already. Do we count the baseball team as the Fanatics? We've had our own Fanatics in terms of spectators here for softball, but with the baseball team here, I guess they count this in the category of the Fanatics here today.
They're certainly fanatical when they're in the stands.
All right. That was a little Nick Durst-ism right there.
Talk about a true home field advantage for the Dolphins, but we do say it all the time. For the team on the road side of this matchup between Staten Island and Duville, and obviously vice versa when the games are played in Buffalo, it is a disadvantage for the road team, in my opinion. Really tough to make that trip and then play 2 games back-to-back. Obviously, you can get in a bit earlier to try and mitigate the downside, but it can't be easy if you spend 8 hours on a bus to get here to then have to play 2 games the next day or even 2 days later.
And then have to deal with, if you want to call it a hostile environment with the Fanatics cheering on their Dolphins team. And we kind of saw it last year, too, with the women's basketball team. They definitely helped the Dolphins in a couple of games in terms of cheering on their squad.
That one's blooped on the infield, off the glove of Balderas. No chance to throw out Shibish at first. And that will probably go down as an infield hit.
I think that will go down as an infield hit as well.
I sure hope so. And if it went down as otherwise, don't tell me.
It went down as a single, don't worry.
That's good.
Not an easy play for Balderas. I think the only way she would be able to make the catch maybe is on a dive, but even then, it would have still been tough.
Number 2 hitter, Gianna Adamo, at the plate here for the Saints. That's only their second hit of the game.
Well, as you mentioned, as I once fouled, you mentioned the last time the 2 teams met with this same exact pitching matchup. 8 combined hits in that game, 5 for the Dolphins, 3 for the Saints. So we saw a pitcher's duel in that one, and early in this game, now here in the 5th, we're seeing another pitcher's duel brewing between these two pitchers that have had a really good 2025 season.
And Ruth's pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Fourth strikeout for Kennedy Ruth. And there are now 2 gone in the inning.
You know what I like about the delayed, strike call right there, Joe? The baseball team was waiting to see if they should start cheering or not. Once the home plate umpire made the decision, they started to erupt for that strike 3 call, and now 2 gone in the inning.
So you're saying the umpire is playing to the crowd?
I think so.
Okay.
There's a lot of sportsmanship and showmanship, if you want to call it, in this one.
Annie Jorgensen at the plate here. She's ahead 1-0.
The laptop is not
mute the computer, Joseph.
That one's hit. It's a shallow right, and Stalker makes the play. I'll go relay that message, Joe.
You relay the message? I send us to break. Dolphins lead 2-0.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Natalia Kanoth will lead off for the Dolphins in the home 5th inning. Dolphins still leading by a pair. And Nick, we spoke about it. Offense has come at a premium in this particular pitching matchup across 2 meetings between these 2 teams. But if you look back to the 1st inning, it's really come down to a couple of major miscues on the side of D'Youville. One, the play in right field, and then the wild pitch that allowed Carcano to score.
Yeah, some bad bounces going against the Saints. And, you don't necessarily hear that a lot often when you're calling a softball game or a baseball game, but that's really what it's been down to. It's been a couple of bad bounces that have gone against the Saints team, and it could be a completely different ball game. It could be a scoreless game right now here in the home 5th, but instead, the Dolphins are taking advantage of those bad bounces, and they have this 2-0 lead, and they're 6 outs away from making Game 2 a very must-watch game.
Well, they did the same last year. They faced Mercy on the final day of the season. They won Game 1, needed Game 2 as well, and they did not win Game 2, as that pitch is in for a called strike, 1-2.
Now, of course, for us, we had this big doubleheader here today, but of course, for us Knicks fans, we are monitoring the Knicks game as well. They're about to tip off in Detroit.
Unashamedly, I was monitoring that game very closely as I called the baseball game the other night. And Kanoth goes down looking for the first out.
Well, I was texting you guys as well about the updates. I was watching that game, and I could not believe the sequence that happened at the end of the game. A sequence that I don't think even we've seen at calling or working at our own basketball games, where a clock operator mishap awarded the Pistons a chance to win the game at the end.
Well, I think I found another job for Stephanie. They need a clock operator. She's the best.
Yeah, they really might need her because they started the clock when Brunson shot his last free throw, and the ball never came out of the rim when the clock, the buzzer sounded. So the ref's explanation was the Pistons get awarded another possession because of the clock mishap.
What?
They gave him another possession because of that. That made no sense. I'm still amazed at what that call was. Thankfully, it didn't hurt the Knicks, because when Lou texted you that the game was over, I said, no, it's not. I'm still watching it. As the wind, again, intensifies.
Well, I'm looking at our levels right now in our private audio conversation that's pulling in my sound from 450 feet away. It is your audio that is booming with the wind, not mine.
It could be mine.
I think it is you. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
Watch
boy.
out.
Yeah, my head's down.
Take cover, Nick. Take cover.
Hey, Joe, you got to tell me, is it over? I can't see.
It's over. It's over.
Okay, good.
Alyssa Acosta at the plate for the Dolphins. Moreno behind the plate for D'Youville, and the home plate umpire getting the full brunt of that last wind gust. And Acosta fouls that one off.
Well, we have a triple header today, Joe, in terms of special occasions here today. Of course,
Do we now?
We have the doubleheader here at softball.
I know nothing about anything else.
We'll be looking to see the next win today, but of course, there's a special birthday that we should address here on the broadcast. I'll make that point in just a moment after this next pitch.
Outside.
I'll probably have to wait till the win ends as well.
You can wait until tomorrow.
Are you sure? We won't be on the.
I'm sure.
We won't be on the call tomorrow.
That's okay.
And I might. And this might be this most likely might be your final broadcast of the season. This doubleheader today.
The Fanatics certainly hope not.
That's true.
Because I am at the ECC Softball Championship later this week, and I think I'm putting on a headset for that, as that's fouled away.
You and I discussed it. There might be a possibility of me with you. We'll have to see if that does entail, but you might not be the last time you and I are on the broadcast together this season.
I sure hope that is the case and that we have at least a couple more. Have to admit it won't be the same covering the championship if the Dolphins aren't in it. As Acosta takes high, she's worked the count back to 2-2.
So going back to that point I made earlier.
I thought you forgot.
No, I didn't forget. You wish I forgot. A very special happy birthday to our broadcast partner, my broadcast partner, I should say, Joe Foreman, celebrating his birthday.
Thank you, Nick. Your birthday gift to me, the return of my keys. That's taken out of the zone.
I thought you were going to say the birthday gift would be the next win, but I mean,
I'll take that.
You'll take that as well.
I'll take that too. I do intend to be at Game 5, so we'll see if that comes to fruition.
Hopefully that is the case. Hopefully that is the series clincher for the Knicks on that one.
3-2. Misses for ball 4, and a great at-bat from Melissa Acosta ends in a walk. That will turn it over to the top of the Dolphins lineup.
And Joe, as you mentioned, great at-bat, but how many times have you and I mentioned that you don't want to walk the number 9 here in the order because of this exact scenario? Now, you go back to the top of the lineup. Anissa Acosta already has a base hit in this game and has scored in a run. So, Raparzic had to get this out here after issuing that one-out walk.
And we say that all the time, especially with the Dolphins, because it's far too easy for Anissa to pick up an extra base hit and double home and run.
Right.
She's a doubles machine. We're still waiting for that first home run from TJ, but today could be the day, Nick.
Today could be the day. Final day of the regular season. She's looking to extend her Dolphin career today if the Dolphins can pick up both games.
That is very true. This could be her final game as a Dolphin. At least game 2 could be. As that swung on and missed, 0-2 now.
We celebrated Senior Day last Saturday for these seniors, and as I mentioned, they're trying to extend their careers. They get both wins at this and against this Saints team here today.
The 0-2 outside.
And maybe it was the wrong decision wearing our new sweatshirt today. It is covered with dirt.
Door here at the baseball press box, swinging back and forth in the breeze, and that is a heavy door. 1-2. Hit toward the middle into a gust of dirt. That's a great job to make that play. That is not easy to maintain focus encased in dirt and get the out at second base on that play. Good job by the middle infield of D'Youville.
I'm going to say this, Joe, and you mentioned good play at second base, heads up with the wind. I could not hear what your last point was because of how bad the wind was. It was that bad.
Yeah, your mic is really picking up the wind.
I know. I tried to play around with it, but it's not really helping.
So they just realized I'm up in the press box.
And who was okay?
Matt and Alberto just realized I'm in the press box.
Yeah, as I said, they didn't
X
any of us yet about that.
They know we have everything so under control that even if I'm not here, the crew do a masterful job.
It still sounds like you're right next to me.
It does. Well, I don't want to give any free advertising as that's popped up and lands foul.
I wonder where this is going.
The web app that we are using to transmit the audio has been phenomenal.
It has been yeah.
If you can transmit audio on campus Wi-Fi, you're doing something right.
It's much needed today.
1-1 the count on Carcano. That's fouled back. Carcano at the plate in this game, 1 for 2. 3 Dolphin hits belong to Acosta, Carcano, and Wanzer. 2 away here in the home 5th. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
Foul tipped into the glove for that final out.
4 strikeouts for Parzic, and we are through 5 from the CSI softball complex. Dolphins still lead D'Youville 2-0. Summer Clark will lead off for D'Youville in the road 6th. Saints down to their final 6 outs. Kennedy Ruth enters the inning at 72 pitches, primed to go the distance if necessary, and I think the Dolphins sure hope she can.
We've already seen so many complete games out of her this season, and they would certainly love another one and put them in a spot where Game 2 will be win and in for both teams.
If she is able to get out of this game under 100 pitches, as that's lined toward left.
Nice catch by Acosta.
To make the catch is Acosta. A shoestring grab in left center as the Dolphins outfield has robbed the Saints of yet another base hit.
We saw Stalker made the dive and play out in right. Now it's Acosta out in left. You mentioned it, shoestring almost coming out of the glove. And it's a big out, number 1 for CSI.
Huge first out, bringing up Laura Beck. But, Nick, I was about to say.
I know where you're going with your point.
If Kennedy Ruth gets through this game under 100 pitches, do you have her open Game 1?
I think you
or
do.
Game 2, I say?
I think you open her in Game 2.
You do. I don't think they will.
I think, if anything, you maybe open up with Frenza, and if she gets into some trouble, then Ruth comes in.
I'm almost inclined to go the other way around, Nick.
You think it's the other way around?
Almost inclined. I think I might go the other way around. You try and get a lead early, and then at the first sign of trouble or fatigue, she comes out. As that's hit down the line, just foul. It was smothered by Warner.
The Dolphins hoping that these scenarios play out. They still have the 5 outs to go. But only a 2-run lead. There's still a lot of chances for D'Youville to tie this game or potentially take the lead. So they're not out of it just yet.
Certainly not, as that's taken out of its own.
And as we've seen for multiple games in baseball and softball, no lead realistically is safe, whether it's, a big, 9-run lead, 7-run lead, even in this case now 2 runs. There is still a great chance D'Youville has in this contest.
That's dribbled to second. Flip to first in time. 2 quick outs for Ruth here in the 6th, Nick. And that pitch count's looking pretty good.
And I think what's been great for the Dolphins so far in this one, we talked about what happened on Tuesday against Mercy. The Dolphins had that game slip away because of a couple big errors that happened, and especially in one inning. I believe that was back in the 5th inning of that game. You correct me if I'm wrong. But here today, the Dolphins defense has done an impeccable job so far, and they've given Ruth a good chance to close this game with the victory.
Clark retired, Beck retired, and now Gabby Moreno is at the plate and ahead 1-0.
And you mentioned that pitch count is looking really good for Ruth as they'll have a conference in the circle. And you even said it. If she is able to finish this game under 100, considering what we've seen these last couple of weeks where she's had a couple of games where she's been over 130 pitches, over 140 pitches, if she can get under 100, that would be huge for the Dolphins going in to the second game of this doubleheader, especially if they come out with the win here in Game 1.
If she ends the game under 100, Nick, I'm probably starting her in Game 2. I think a lot of the time with pitchers, the stop and start, long layoff, and then coming back is more troublesome for the arm. I think, the second game gets started in 20 or 30 minutes. You
and then
throw
you're waiting
the end
around.
of Game 1 and the start of Game 2.
Right.
As that's taken high, I think that's how you make it work. I think if you sit her down and don't start her, it's harder to bring her back in.
Right, because that's why you see when pitchers, in between half innings where a team scores, abundance of runs, they have to have their elbow wrapped up to get ready for the next half inning, and they're waiting a long time. And because of them waiting a long time, they're not able to finish that game.
There's a called strike.
It's even the same case for when you have a rain delay. When you have a pitcher pitching and then they have to stop the game because of the rain, they don't enter the game back, an hour or two later because of the rest that they had on the bench.
That's a good point, and the question then becomes, since that's grounded foul, 3-2, is the 20 to 30 minutes between games too long to consider bringing Ruth back? And if you're the Dolphins, do you maybe try and expedite the start of Game 2 just a bit, if you can, and
I'm sure they would love
break?
Yeah, I'm sure they would love to play the second game as soon as possible after Game 1 is over, because then you keep Ruth, warmed up and ready. Your batters who, have done a good job in this game, even with the 3 hits, you keep them up and ready as well.
And that's hit well to left. It gets by Acosta and all the way to the wall. It's lodged in the fence, and that is going to be a ground rule double.
That will go down as the third hit of the game now for the Saints. Ground rule double from Moreno on for the second time in this game, and now they bring the tying run to the plate once again, Joe, and Shannon Howes.
Well, that's a big hit for D'Youville, not only to put a runner in scoring position, but to prolong this inning and make Ruth throw some additional pitches. Is that our colleague, Pat Fleming, who just rolled in behind the center field wall? Can't miss the giant black truck.
I was going to say, I didn't see him over here, so once you finish that sentence with behind the center field wall, then I realized, he's not talking about over here. I'm sure he'll be making his way in just a few moments.
Well, as you mentioned, Shannon Howes the batter, and she has a chance to deliver a big RBI base hit. And now Howes is ahead 2-0, and all of a sudden, Ruth's command has been evading her again. And we saw this a couple of innings back. No signs of it since.
And we saw it well, as I mentioned earlier, we saw it as well on Tuesday against Mercy.
That pitch in for a strike. 2-1. 2-1. In for a called strike 2.
The softball complex about to potentially get on their feet once again, Joe. Baseball team looking to cheer on for a potential strike 3 call. It's now 2-2 with 2 gone.
The 2-2 pitch. In at the knees for strike 3 called. Big strikeout for Kennedy Ruth as she strands another runner in scoring position. The Dolphins come to bat in the home 6th, looking for some insurance. When we come back, our score, Staten Island 2 and D'Youville nothing.
Dear softball, where to begin with what you have given me? I have struggled with you at times, but you have unequivocally made me who I am today. You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter. Growing up, you were there for me when social groups may not have been. You were there through familiar hard times, and you never gave up on me. You have introduced me to so many influential people in my life, and I wouldn't have dreamt of meeting if it was not for you. You always kept me motivated to pursue a dream. No matter what was going on in life, you kept inspiring me to chase my dreams. And you have taught me many life lessons of overcoming, perseverance, and what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your craft. You have taught me that success is not guaranteed or promised, and that it is earned every second of every day. Softball, you have guided me, pushed me to be my best, and inspired me. You kept me going when I thought I had no more to give. At times, you were my last hope. You have led me to this moment here, today, where I could not be more indebted to you. My name is Jenna Lilly. I'm a senior softball player at the University of Oregon, majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology.
Amanda Stalker leads off for the Dolphins in the home 6th inning. CSI looking for insurance, leading the Saints 2-0. A playoff spot on the line here today at the CSI Softball Complex. If the Dolphins win here in Game 1, Game 2 is a win and in-game loser go-home game for both teams.
And it's all imperative, Joe, that the Dolphins get some insurance runs in this half inning, at least give Kennedy Ruth a bit of a more cushion heading into the 7th.
Stalker takes inside. She's now ahead 2-0.
And this is a good spot for CSI to get the chance to bring that insurance. 3, 4, and 5 up in the inning for the Dolphins.
Wind picks up again.
Yep.
Stalker awaits the 2-0 pitch. That's in for a strike. It's getting chilly up here as well, Nate.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I think with a higher elevation, it's gonna you're definitely gonna feel it.
Never could have imagined I would need to call a game from the press box.
That's what allergies will do to you.
2-1 swung on and missed.
Well,
I consider allergies a product of me never being outdoors.
Right.
I genuinely believe that's the reason. Because as a kid, I did not go through anything like this when I was outdoors daily. I think that's the reason. The 2-2. This is low, ball 3.
Another birthday gift you would like to be allergy-free and not have to deal with this.
That'd be real nice.
Now here, Stalker's worked the count full.
Here comes the payoff pitch. And Stalker takes strike 3 called. 1 away.
Fanatics not happy with that strike call on that one. And Stalker's down looking for the first out. And I talked about this as well, Joe. You know, we mentioned Ruth's pitch count heading into potentially Game 2 if the Dolphins hold on to win. Parzic as well. You could make the case if CSI holds on to win this game. Not saying she would start, but she would definitely pitch at one point in that second game if needed.
Yeah, I think if you look at the stats for D'Youville, Parzic is the number 1 as that's hit out toward right center. And moving to her left to make the catch is Shibish. 2 away in the inning, but Parzic is their ace, and they have other pitchers as well. The Dolphins, however, did do a good job against the rest of that Saints pitching staff.
And Parzic has a chance to finish under 100 pitches as well. At 96 heading into this next at-bat against Olivia Wanser.
Well, they had Lennon and Clark pitch against the Dolphins in Game 2 in Buffalo, and the Dolphins hit both of them very well. At the plate here for the Dolphins, Olivia Wanser. Wanser ahead in the count 1-0. She's 1 for 1 at the plate. And she takes a strike.
A little bit of minimal at-bats in this game for both sides. You know, we've seen a couple walks, but just 3 hits for both teams here in the 6th inning with 2 gone.
Wait a minute. Nick, we have a food delivery.
We do?
Baseball, really? Is it going to the clubhouse or behind the plate? As that's it back to the circle, and once again, Parzic forced to make the play. We've seen that now multiple times today for both pitchers. And it is a 1-2-3 6th inning for the D'Youville starter. Parzic has allowed just the 2 first-inning runs. Her offense yet to give her any support. Last chance for D'Youville down to their final 3 outs. The Dolphins lead 2-0.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change.
Top of the 7th inning from the CSI softball complex. The
It's getting rowdy here, Joe.
2-0. As that's taken high, ball 1.
It is getting very rowdy. Didn't mean to cut you off, but both sides for both of these teams, as I mentioned, have been represented here today. And there's a lot on the line with this first game, deciding what could potentially go on in Game 2.
Leading off for the Saints here in the 7th is Becca Sawyer. Sawyer is 1 for 2 against Kennedy Ruth today.
They've got 8-9-1 coming up in the inning.
Ruth quickly behind 2-0. And there's a strike at the knees, 2-1.
Ruth's pitch count, as we mentioned, Joe, going into the inning was 90. So she's at 93 now with this 2-1 count.
Well, if you're the Saints, at the very least, you have to make her work. The 2-1. Fought off foul and off the light fixture.
As long as a light fixture, not at someone's car. Although it'd be very impressive.
The only way a car would get hit there
is
if
it's a home
it was
run
on the roadway at the worst possible
Or
moment.
that too, yeah. I was to say a home run if someone hits it over one of those fences at right center.
That's taken inside, ball 3.
So huge pitch now.
This is a spot where you have to throw a strike, even if you groove one right down the middle. One swing can't beat you. You cannot walk the batter here.
See what it does.
And that's it on the ground to second. Motley's got it. 1 away.
Good start to the inning. You mentioned it, Joe. Needed to just throw a strike and at least force your fielders to make the play. That's exactly what happened. Force the ground ball. 1 gone the inning as Motley makes the play over at second.
The Dolphins 2 outs away from forcing a winner-take-all season finale for the 2nd straight season.
And for Kennedy Ruth, Joe is looking for her 2nd complete game shutout of the year. Her first one came back when I called their matchups at Seton Hall against Chestnut Hill. Dolphins' very first game of the season started with a complete game shutout. One of their final 2 games of the regular season, they're looking to get another CGSO right here.
First pitch to Sophia Arnaud, in for a called strike. And that is fouled back, 0-2.
The baseball team, they are getting very, very, excited here. Looking for one more strike from Ruth, get another punch out, and put the Dolphins within reach with one more out.
I can hear them from up here, Nick. I don't even need the headset to hear them. Here comes the 0-2. Way upstairs, 1-2.
You might hear them on Victory Boulevard if Ruth gets the strikeout to get the second out.
Ruth still in the driver's seat. Ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that's fouled off.
That one was just fouled off at the very last second.
Baseball making me feel like I'm at a WWE show right now.
You and I have had our fair share of seeing some rowdy crowds over at WWE.
1-2. Fought off foul again.
We always seem to find a way to sneak in some wrestling when we're on the broadcast.
Yeah, Dave would hate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Former SID and current director of communications here at CSI. Still 1-2. And that is taken for a ball. Everyone in the complex thought that was going to be called strike 3, Nick.
Even Cano thought that one, Joe. She had the fist pump ready for a strikeout. I even thought it was. I had the strikeout ready on the screen.
Did she go? No, she did not. Good at bat here.
How big of a difference in this at bat. Dolphins thought they had the second out of the inning via the strikeout. Now it's a full count, and the Saints have a chance to bring the tying run to the plate if they get the walk right here.
Huge pitch here, and Nick, the same thing I said before applies. Have to attack. And that is taken inside for ball 4.
And just like that, Joe, because of that happening, They walked the number 9 hitter in the order, and now back to the top of the lineup as here comes the wind once again. And we might get a pinch runner potentially for the Saints. That looks like what's going to happen.
Emily Shibish will be the batter. And the pinch runner.
Ali Biardi is at first base now, number 7.
All right. That one I was going to be able to see, Nick.
Yes. More of a relay.
If it was a pinch runner at second or third,
yes.
I don't think I'm seeing much.
As Tracy Garofalo will now come out to the circle. And this got to be tough because the Dolphins, as I mentioned, Joe, they thought they had the second out of the inning right there on that 1-2 pitch. Everyone behind me thought they had it. Kanoth, as I mentioned, thought she had it, and they didn't get the strike call. And the bat extended. It led to a walk, and now they bring the tying run to the plate, and as we mentioned, it's back to the top of the lineup for the Saints. So this is the spot that they would like to have that tying run come up to the plate.
Well, if you're Ruth, you hate to walk a batter, especially the 9-hitter.
Oh, my, Joe. You would have just cringed at what just happened over here.
Did the camera almost go down?
No, Stephanie's laptop fell from our position behind you because of the wind. Hopefully it's okay.
Oh, boy. There's ball 1.
Now, I think also something to look at for this at bat. We've seen 2 swinging bunts basically from Shibish. I don't think you see a bunt in this spot, but Dolphins infield's got to be careful and avoid giving up the infield single.
There's a called strike 1-1, and I had to chuckle there. Right outside my window, Nick, Coach Morrow was sprinting to make sure he
caught the end of the game.
The end of the game, and he got taken out by a tree branch.
Oh, goodness. Hopefully he's okay.
He's good, as that's taken high. 2-1 on Shibish.
The wind has been brutal. Steph, is your laptop good? Is it good? Yeah, she said it's working. All right, so at least we didn't lose that.
Very fortunate.
And there's the bunt.
Tough play. Warner.
Got her.
And she got the out at first. What a play by Olivia Warner. And the Dolphins get a huge second out. Nick, you're going to have to run that one back.
And, Joe, we talked about Shibish's numbers on the season in terms of as the replay was started to run, and now here it comes. We talked about her numbers this season in terms of stolen bases. That was huge. The Dolphins got that out. And a heads-up play by Warner, who's had a great job over at third base here today.
Saints down to their final out, and there's a swing and miss for strike 1 on Gianna Adamo.
Adamo will look to try to extend this game. A base hit will make this a one-run game. But as you mentioned, the top of the lineup has not had much success today against Ruth.
And that pitch is in for a called strike 2. And, Nick, the Dolphins are 1 strike away.
And I wasn't meaning to laugh, but, again, the baseball team was waiting to see what the home plate umpire would say. Late strike, and then 1 strike away, as you mentioned.
The 0-2 foul back.
They almost started to celebrate on that one. Just at the last second, Adamo got a piece of it.
I'd love to be in the middle of that atmosphere, Nick, minus all the dirt swirling behind the plate, but it is a capacity crowd at the softball complex today. The Dolphins needing 2 wins to clinch a playoff spot. They're first as a Division II program, and they are 1 strike away from forcing a winner-take-all Game 2.
So
the Saints, the tying run is on base.
Yes. And as I mentioned, it would be almost deja vu if the Dolphins can force that Game 2 win at all if they get the job done here.
And that's fouled back again. It stays 0-2. Adamo continuing to battle.
Ruth, of course, over 100 pitches as well in this game, Joe. Came into this at-bat with 108.
Another 0-2. Popped up, but out of play.
And of course, obviously, not only would the fanatics behind me get hyped up and erupt, but the Dolphins dugout for softball would certainly erupt as well if they could force that win-and-in scenario for the second game.
And that is lined up the middle, base hit. That will bring home a run. And the throw is cut off. It's an RBI base hit for Gianna Adamo. And the Saints have cut the Dolphins' lead in half. It's 2-1.
Well, Joe, There's a term I like to say when you have situations like that, and it's a two-word sentiment. They call this sports drama. How much more drama could you get? Dolphins 1 out away, even 1 strike away from ending this game. We saw a great at-bat from Adamo, fouled off a couple pitches. She gets a single up the middle. She's now on first base representing the tying run, and now D'Youville has the go-ahead runner at the plate.
Annie Jorgensen, the batter, puts it in play to short, and the out is recorded at first. The Dolphins take game 1. CSI defeats D'Youville 2-1, and it will be a winner-take-all season finale as the Dolphins and Saints will meet for one more game coming up next. The winner moving on to the East Coast Conference playoffs.
And you got to give your tip of the cap once again to Kennedy Ruth, Joe. How many times have we said this season when the Dolphins needed a big pitching performance, they go to their ace, Kennedy Ruth, and she once again delivers in this game. She gets the complete game, 2-1 win. The Dolphins holding on to that 2-0 lead after the first inning. The Saints made it interesting in the last half inning with that RBI single, but they were not able to bring the tie run home. Dolphins hang on, and Joe, for you and I, for the second straight season, the Dolphins' last game of the year of the regular season, it will be a win-in scenario for both them as well as their opponents. Last year was Mercy. This year it will be D'Youville. Game 2 in a few minutes. Tune in for what will be a great broadcast, and we'll see who makes the playoffs.
Well, you can't ask for higher stakes in your season finale, Nick. A must-win game to get in, a game that if you lose, you are out. Fans of the Saints and the Dolphins will certainly be tuning in for our broadcast of Game 2. You and I were hoping for this, obviously, and now we get the chance to call that winner-take-all finale. We expect that game to get underway in approximately 30 minutes. Dolphins and Saints, Game 2, here on the ECC Network. Coming up next. Until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nicholas Bavona. Be sure to join us for the season finale coming up. Dolphins and Saints battle for a spot in the ECC playoffs.